It's an e-commerce company that's young, exciting, innovative, intelligent. It wasn't easy to get to the place where we are today, but our core values have been there since the very beginning. Nobody is unwilling to do a certain task, to do what it takes to succeed, and it's always been that way. To me, it's about the journey, it's about the challenge, it's about the people that are around me during those hard times, standing up together and getting things accomplished. My family was in the plumbing and heating supply business.
My father started the business in 1917. In 1933, he opened up Meyerowitz & Son. And in 1970, my son come in and my son-in-law, and we just kept on growing.
I didn't work in the business, the family business, much as a kid. I really didn't want anything to do with the plumbing industry.
He had said to me that, you know, the internet is where it's going to be, and maybe you could put stuff on, and I had discussed it with him.
And e-commerce was really starting to take off.
And once we sat there, I said to him, this is never going to work. This is impossible.
But he was like, who's going to do this?
Who is going to pull it off? Nobody can pull it off. Then one day he called me up and he said, I want to put your business on the internet. I said, you must be out of your mind.
You know, I know my dad was concerned about it. He wasn't sure it was the best move for me.
He said, if I'm ever going to do it, this is the time to do it.
In 2004, I left my job in finance to go start the e-commerce business. But in the beginning, it really wasn't e-commerce because it took a long time to get the site up. It took probably a year. I was walking around the city with like copper fitting special sheets trying to get business from plumbers in the city.
He would call me almost every day. I mean, he'd be on the phone and he said, what's an elbow? What's a street? What's a union, you know? And I said, this is really not going to work.
You know, in the morning the calls would come in and we would answer the calls, and then in the afternoon we would be in the warehouse like packing up the orders. And I remember there used to be a leak in the warehouse, like this rusty water used to come down, and I'd be like standing there and the rusty water would be dripping on my head.
You know, no matter what the task is, if it's taking out the garbage or cleaning the bathroom, I'm gonna make sure I do the best job possible.
It was really hard to hire people in the beginning, and they would pull up to this like shoddy looking warehouse.
I drove up and the name was not on the building. It was like on a dead-end street with like cars everywhere. There was like no parking, you know, had that like nervous, I don't even know, it was on Craigslist. I was just really kind of concerned. I made sure my parents knew where I was.
And I think a lot of them didn't even come in the door.
There was only one bathroom.
It was so hot in there.
It was very small and tight.
The rug was like falling apart in there.
There was no color cohesion or anything.
You know, that's how we started. It was not a glamorous thing. It was, we were back there kind of just doing whatever we had to do to get the orders out. During the day, we would have to take some of the material that was in the building and move it outside just so we could have enough space to operate.
You could just feel it like picking up.
We probably had like 4,000 square feet of space in that building, and then we moved into a building with 20,000 square feet. And we were like, wow, this is huge, this is great, this is gonna give us the opportunity to grow for a while. And after we were in that building for like a year or so, we started to realize that we were gonna outgrow that one too.
In 2011 is when we moved to Price Parkway, which was 100,000 square feet. In 2015, we opened a new distribution center in Columbus, Ohio, and this was our first time operating multiple distribution centers.
We understood that our customers were not being serviced properly all over the country, and it's something that we wanted to make better. So we worked with UPS to figure out what area we would have our building in, so Columbus was the city that allowed us to increase the one-day ship zone by the largest amount.
In 2016, we were in a position where we needed to expand both our office and warehouse. Due to availability of buildings, we ultimately ended up moving into a 45,000 square foot building for our office headquarters, and we decided to move our distribution center to New Jersey into a 150,000 square foot space with the ability to be able to expand in the future.
Placing the distribution center in New Jersey allowed us to basically have a bigger warehouse, a larger space to be able to ship out of.
When I joined, the site was very basic, and then in 2016 we decided that we needed to redo the whole website, change our whole look.
And we focused on responsiveness, which would give our customers a consistent experience throughout multiple devices. And this also was a great opportunity to incorporate our culture and who we are as a company into the site.
And the website is sort of our face. It's our place of transaction. It's our storefront. It's what people know us for. So I think it's transitioned tremendously. If you look how it was in the beginning, it was just basically a bunch of words on a page that you could click on. And today we've incorporated our people, and we have become an informational portal for the entire industry to go and find PDFs or questions and answers.
It's changed the game completely. It was one of the biggest changes that we've ever done to the website.
So in 2018, we opened a distribution center in Reno, Nevada, and that's really cut down our time in transit to a lot of the customers out there and expanded our one-day fast track zone on the West Coast.
We have a lot of customers on the West Coast. California is our second largest state by revenue, and it takes them still 4 days to receive any order they place with us. So we knew that if we placed a distribution center out on the West Coast, we could increase our business dramatically and provide much better service for the customers out there.
And with the call center out in Reno, Nevada, it's also allowed us to service our customers better with the time zone difference.
I think we've done a great job on prioritizing our customers and the great service we provide. We'll have the phones open much later so that those on the West Coast or even customers here in New York can call after work.
I think the biggest concern was maintaining company culture.
We wouldn't know what was going on every day, and so we really had to rely on the people that were going to be running these other distribution centers to make sure that the core culture of the company, respect and teamwork and that desire to do anything it takes to succeed, that was going to be going on in these other locations. And so these new heads of buildings have been able to sort of employ their own little subculture, and they've been doing a really great job at it. And I hope that we just become a national recognizable brand in terms of doing things right by people, taking care of people, running a business the right way, representing an industry that's often overlooked. We don't want this industry to be overlooked anymore, and we want our brand to help it gain notoriety.
The thing that I am most proud of now are the people we have in the company.
We want this to be a place where people walk in the front door and they feel at home, at ease, comfortable. They can ask anybody anything, and nobody's ever going to laugh at them or think they have a stupid question. People will do whatever they can to help each other succeed.
We have so many genuine, good-hearted people in the company that there hasn't been a day that I haven't woken up and been, excited to go to work.
And at the end of this, journey, what is the point of this company? Why am I doing all this stuff? And I think it's really to create a place where people can feel good about what they do. They can find a group of like-minded people who are diverse in their backgrounds and grow individually. And I don't think there's a lot of places out there where you can kind of feel comfortable and vulnerable enough to throw yourself out there and be judged and know that the people on the other end are not going to try and hurt you. And that's the goal that I have here.